Welcome, welcome, welcome to another segment of Conversate and ELLAvate. Conversate and ELLAvate are segments of the SeekELLAvation Empowercast, the Empowercast that's intended to elevate the listeners and the viewers. And with Conversate and ELLAvate, I am choosing 26 impactful individuals. So you don't just hear me speaking on the SeekELLAvation Empowercast, or you hear it coming from my mouth, but I bring individuals in so you hear this dialogue and possibly hear yourself in the midst of it, get some inspiration, get some education, and again, get some elevation. So today, I have an amazing guest, and I know I said that umpteen times. I'm going to say it 26 total times because I have 26 amazing guests. Today, I have Leeohlitt, and we're going to get into who he is, what he brings to the table, and why he is so impactful, why I consider him impactful. Leo, how are you doing?
And I'm doing fantastic, actually, Ella. Very happy to be here and just to be a part of whatever you have going on. You've been a great inspiration to me. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm doing great, getting it done.
I appreciate it. And likewise, you've been an inspiration to me. Anytime I think like mind, like energies, like all that. I mean, from the first time that I met Leo, that was some years ago, because if you think about it, the pandemic been 3 years, right? That's 2019, 2020, 21,
I
22.
think I met you in 2017, I think.
2017?
I think so.
That is sick.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, time goes by. And we're going to get to it. But when I met him was actually at an event that we were at, and he was performing, amazing performance. There was a lot of different things going on during that event. But when Leo performed, it was just like a magnet. I was like, who is that? And I heard plethora of talents with the industry that I'm in, but just listening to Leo, it was absolutely amazing. But before we get that, Leo, let's tell the viewers and the listeners about a little bit about who Leo is. You're an artist now, but you're more than that. I always say you're an entrepreneur. People that are artists, but kind of just give us a background of who you are and what kind of moved you in this direction.
Man, who I am as a person.
Yes.
First and foremost, I don't know if you sneeze, bless you.
No, it was a cough.
Got you. Got you. Yeah. Who I am as a person is I strive to be someone that I would like for other people to be. So when I do see just noble acts or just people that are moving in just a motivational direction, I strive to be like that as well. So at core, I think that I'm a family man. I do keep my family around me. They play a big part in the decisions that I make. And my road hasn't been easy. It's just like a lot of people, I'm sure that's listening right now, everybody has a story. Unfortunately, that love for my family, although I still have it as a child, it was kind of used against me or kind of worked not in my favor because of the individuals I was around at the time. I felt like they were my family, and it led me down some wrong roads, which landed me in prison. Like, Ella, I did 15 years.
Yep.
A while, when I was 15, the judge gave me 15 years. So I did every bit of that. And on that journey, I was able to learn a lot about myself, a lot about the things that I want, things that I don't want. I was just guided in so many ways, especially, it sounds crazy, but by like negativity. One of the greatest pivots in my life was when I found myself incarcerated based on the choices that I made. And although I was the youngest one, well, first I would say that the guys I was incarcerated with, I looked up to all of them. They were older than me. And when they all put the blame on me, I was shocked, I was hurt, that they just put something on me, one, a crime that I didn't commit, and then a crime that I did commit so they could get out of the situation. They told on me about that, something I did before this, so that experience showed me that, I didn't know what I wanted to be in life, but I didn't want to be like them. And that kind of just, guided me. That little bit of knowledge or that little bit of insight put me, on a path. So during that incarceration, although I educated myself, one of the biggest things that kept me going was the music. And that's, what's brought me right here, no matter what situation I was in, what happened, going to court, getting denied, being in the whole missing visitation, all sorts of different circumstances I went through, I always had my music. So that's kind of what has kept me. And while, although I am an entrepreneur, I do so many different things. I help with services such as marketing, promotion. I do writing for other artists, which has been a lot of the ways I've been, making a living these days. And although I've, I'm into a lot of different things, but music is definitely my core. So it just kind of brings it back for me. That's like a unifying factor of music.
And music is just, first of all, it is a universal language. Music, I mean, we can get deep into the hurts and all these different things of how we can move us, pull us down, whatever. Music is just powerful. Music is one of those energies that have been here from the beginning of time. But I won't get too deep on that. But yeah, of course, I mean, music is a universal healing as well. So I love how you stated that it was the staple that kept you in the midst of all that. So I want to back up real quickly, especially like you just mentioned, being a family man, twofold. Being a family man, meaning you have that type of familiar energy. It means if someone is, you're going to rock with them, you're going to rock with them. Like that type of family as well. Family's not always blood. And you're just that person, at least from what I've seen, is that you rock with people and you embrace them as family. But also you have an amazing, beautiful wife who was absolutely talented. I'm waiting for this stuff to clear up so I can throw a big event just for her to just coordinate that event. I mean, listen, because I mean, she earned it. Your wife is amazing with the stuff. Listen, if anybody that's listening and viewing, trust me, his wife is amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. But your family man with that, and you mentioned just that love, right? And vulnerability, like when you love the people around you and people use that, seeing it more as weaponized, that love and that trust and that confidence. But it's amazing you shared that, because we do know in life in general, but especially in the music industry, one of the things that's kind of shunned on is for men to share that they're family men, that they have this love. We always have to portray this thing. So I love that you was open with that. And has it affected that vulnerability the way you love, or do you just love and it's just affected how you're selective now? You see differently on like your circle.
Yeah, I think it's more of the latter. It has given me that new perspective with more wisdom, so it's not that I should change who I am. It's just who I am with certain people.
Absolutely.
And recognize, like my wife, my wife was there for me while I was incarcerated, before we were even together, boyfriend and girlfriend. She was handling the business for me, making sure things were squared away. And when I came home, it was just, even though we still weren't together, we just came together. And I think that even when I met you, Ella, I don't know if we were officially a couple yet at that time. I'm not sure.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm not sure either. But if you both wasn't, the chemistry was so strong in there, that it felt like it, or at least someone who was not playing about, making sure treat this person right. I could tell that energy that was around, that was like, this is Leo, this is Check. So I love that. No, I love that energy. I still feel that energy with her. Like, she knows the up for you and up for her. I love it.
Definitely. Yeah. And that's why I even say the day we met was the day we actually got together, because from that moment we had just been rocking with each other solid.
Wow.
And it just carried on. So my love hasn't changed, just like I said, with the people that I deal with now. I'm more careful. And that's another reason why I'm more to myself now than ever before. I keep my family with me and just a very select few people, because I know that if I go out there for the wrong person, it could cripple what I have going on, because I know I have a lot to lose. So I don't want to just chance that. And that's out of respect for my family too, mainly, go out there and hurt myself when they actually need me.
Absolutely. It's so deep that you're sharing this, because we know that there's certain images that are pushed, which is fine when it's just an image, but some people take it on and has consumed and become their life and has transformed other things. But when we look at our industries, specifically music, specifically males, specifically Black males, they're not open to share stuff like that. Like, I keep to myself. Like, that's not something you know, that we think you could do as an artist, as a creative, that you have to have this huge entourage and be around people all the time. Whereas when you hear the stories of those who finally get it, though, always have those stories about why I should have kept to myself, how it made them open to certain things. It was people within their circle, within their home, that was always the one that was, you know, the setup, the downfall, and all that stuff. So it's okay to outwardly express this and suffer inside and think that you have to, you know, be something else. I appreciate you sharing that. But I wanted to point out, you said in your situation, and you said it sounds strange, that negativity is not strange. So within challenges, I believe, not just on thought, but experiences and everything that I see, I believe within challenges is where opportunity lies. And challenges is where we're stretched. And as someone who works out, you know, when we go to the gym, it's challenging to do things. We push ourselves to what we challenge ourselves in order to see the gains. And if there was no challenge, if there was no push, we're not getting gains in there. We're just in there looking, you know, holding up weights, but you got to get challenged. And so in the challenge, there is opportunity, but you have to be receptive and open to it. So a key thing I want to definitely say is you didn't just get wisdom, you sought it and you were open to the wisdom.
Definitely.
So, and it is definitely showing. All right. So music, it pushed you to music. Music was your focus. You said you write for others. So do you write all your stuff? In addition, do you collab with people sometime? How does that creative process look?
Man, well, I do write for others. Mainly verses. I do a lot of hooks as well, but mainly a lot of verses. A lot of artists I work with, they're very talented. They have great hooks. They just don't have the content to really bring out what they're doing. So I do that as well. And for myself, I do write all my music. But one of the things that I like is when I do go to the studio, I try to bring some of my closest friends with me.
Okay.
And which is not many, 2 or 3. And while I'm in the studio and I'm doing what I'm doing, after I play everything, I say, "Is there anything missing? Does it just sound like something needs to be somewhere?" And they say, "Hey, Leo, something needs to be right there. Maybe an ad lib or whatever." I'll punch in and do what I need to do right there. So even where I'm at now as an artist, it's still collective.
Yeah.
You know, because I understand that I make music for myself, but at the same time, when you have fans, people that love what you do, you have to know how to give that back to them as well. So it's like, it's a, you know, a give and take. I can still be myself, but if you want party music, let me make a party song for you. And I get some guys around that are in that same mindset at that particular time. And then we put together the product, you know, out of appreciation mainly, because, you know, you can't force people to buy anything, especially, you know, not country. So try to make it easy. But because of that, I do collaborate, but in that way versus actually doing features or having people feature on my music or write my music. I like more of the ideas. Just I get guys together to help with the idea.
No, I like that. And I wholeheartedly agree with it. And that takes someone who really has a vision to even understand that. I don't care what industry you're in, to understand that you got to pull other people in and not just come from you, because the gift you're sharing is not just for you. It is for other people. Like I just mentioned in the introduction, the Conversate and ELLAvate segment is an extension of SeekELLAvation, where SeekELLAvation is me just speaking to people, me just using, you know, experiences or people that I had experience with and sharing that. But the Conversate and ELLAvate is a collaboration to bring people in, because you don't know the audience what other things they want to hear. So I think anyone who operates on that next level, to be on that next level, you have to surround yourself with other energy, because answers to questions that we may have had, meditating on things, it comes through other like energy. So when you said you did that collaboration and have close people around you say, "Ooh, add that here," that is you having a vision that, you know, it's not just all Leo. I have to have that around me. And then it reflects obviously in your music. Amazing music.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what is your creative process like? Do you draw from your experiences? What is that motivation coming from? Do you think about those 15 years and tell the story from there? Prior to the 15 years, what do you draw most of your creative juices from?
I draw it mostly from not to say this sound crazy, because I'm sure it may be common, just not to me. I actually draw it from what I think is my subconscious. It's like I trust myself so much, like what I see, what I experience, that when it's time for me to be creative, I trust that whatever I'm looking for will be there. So, like, to give you an example, before I go to the studio, I may read a book or two, watch a movie, watch a series on Netflix, have a conversation. And I'm not looking for anything in particular, nothing at all. I'm just absorbing and allowing myself to digest and perceive. And then I go to the studio, or I may go through BeatStars or a website that sells beats, and I'll just go down the list. And then once I hear something that I like, or I feel like I would buy myself, then I let it come out. And in most cases, all my rap songs start off as a mumble. I don't have any words to it. I just mumble all the way through the whole song, every hook, every ad lib, every bridge. And then I come back and then fill in the gaps, like fill in the dots. That's how I rock. I will complete a whole project just like that with no words, and just trust that, you know, this song makes me sad, or this song makes me feel like I'm happy or party or think of my mother. And then I'll just mumble, sometimes just make all kind of odd sounds. I don't look at anything as being stupid, any sound at all, and I just let it out. And then that's what I do with my voice.
Yo, that is so dope. So when you mumble, is it a melody to the mumble, or is it literally just mumbling and you letting it come, or are you like that in that cadence and then you feel the words into that cadence? Like, what is the mumble like? Just kind of moving with no words?
Yeah, it's kind of moving with no words, and it's kind of like a freestyle at the same time. And whether I'm singing or not, like I may just start like then it just turns into word. Ride like Parallitize, ice like Illinois.
Wow.
Partners, I have no remorse. I've been crossed out by some brothers. What he take me for? And then I just kind of I've been crossed out by a girl who said she loved me more. What part of the game is this? I created you and now you atheist. You know what I mean? Dinosaur, wet paint connoisseur. You know what I mean? And I just kind of just go with it, and I don't limit myself, because I don't think that I have any limits, you know. So I don't even put that on myself. I need to do a good song. I feel like I want to write music. Let me find the beat. I'm not going to wait on the words. That's too much of a limitation. Like, why should I wait on the words? You know, why should I wait on the beat? Whatever comes first. But I start off by first just absorbing what I'm around and trusting myself, you know. And even if what I say today is wrong, you know, at the time today is right to me. And, you know, later on I may learn something different and my perception changes. So I don't even limit myself in that regard to overthink things, you know.
Right.
I may think a car should be this way, but later on the line I say, well, a car should be that. So I just let it come.
And I don't even think it's wrong, because I think as a speaker, a creative as well, there's some things that I've realized I've said years ago that I may have a different take on it. I don't see it as wrong. I see it as evolution. I think the things that we do are intentional to show us what life is about, period. And if we never seen some type of evolvement in mindset or heart set, that's not showing life. So it shows growth, it shows everything. So I think what we say is perfectly right for that time, like you said, and to not just for that time, but even in the future to show evolution. But you gave me goosebumps when you said you just watch different things. You watch from shows to people, and it is implanted in the subconscious. One thing I learned a while ago, because it used to freak me out, I will have like these deep thoughts that will come to my mind, especially when I go into moments of isolation or silence. I'll go into these deep thoughts, and without expressing them, I may watch something or listen to something, and it's literally that thought that was given to me before I watched or seen anything. And what I started realizing is that there's messages that want to, you know, be unfolded, to emerge through us as creatives. There's messages, and usually the message is the same. It's almost like a symphony. We're all in this chorus, and when you tap in to share the varied messages that want to be born, it just comes out uniquely because it comes through me and it comes out differently, but it was the same baseline of message. So I started doing that too. As a speaker, was like, you know what? Instead of just sitting here thinking it, just open, listen, watch different things, read different stuff, and it starts to tap into where I'm at. So I completely have goosebumps when you said that's what you do. And then you get your unique message from, mumbling, and then it comes out. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. That is amazing. I'm glad you can feel me on that. I was gonna say, is my screen frozen?
Nope.
I'm okay. Okay.
But mine. Am I there?
You're there.
Back? Okay. That's no. I don't know what this thing is doing. All right. So you do the creative process. You mumble. It's good to hear how just unique people are. You mumble. You get in there. The words start to flow. Is there a particular feeling that you have when the words actually come to mind and through mouth? Is there a particular feeling that you have when you
Yeah, a lot of times it's based on the music that I'm listening to at the same. Because I do try to complement whatever the instrumental is, and whether the music is in my mind or my heart or I'm actually listening to it. I try to make sure that it's one and the same. When I first started rapping, I didn't understand this at the time, that I was already like this. But whenever I would play a instrumental for someone, I wouldn't just ask them, do they like it or not? I would say, what does this instrumental make you think about? What does it make you feel like? Does it make you want to do this or do that? And it took a while for people to kind of understand, but whatever they said, it made them feel like, that's what I would write, because I kind of wasn't that in tune with my feelings as much as I am now. And I'm still growing, but I wasn't as in tune. But that's kind of how it started. So the feeling of the music, letting it be a union pretty much. And I think that's how you make a hit.
Listen, you've been making them. And we talk about, commercial versus not commercial. We already know how a lot of the politics go, but talent is talent. Right. When you hear it, you know it. And you definitely had it. Is there any inspirations that you have when you think about artists? Are there any inspirations, and why?
Any inspiration as far as other artists?
Yes, for other artists. I mean, it could be because of their music, it could be the way they deliver a message. It could be, I know at one point, you were delivering songs where you didn't want to, or delivering art where you didn't want to have cuss words or this. Is there artists like that? Do you deliver conscious? Do you deliver mix? Are there artists that deliver mix? Do you have any inspiration or anybody that, just growing up or just being in the music?
Yeah, well, I still don't use profanity in my music now, but I do get a lot of inspiration from Lil Baby, Future, Kodak Black, mainly artists that make you feel good. When I was incarcerated, I would always listen to deep music like Tupac, J. Cole, Jay-Z, and I still enjoy those artists today. But that was a certain time I was in where I needed to hear certain things just to talk me through things at times. But now that I'm free, I'm home, I'm happy, they make a lot of like happy music, party music. Even though I don't indulge in a lot of the things that they talk about, just that vibe, so I do get a lot of inspiration, which is a part of my name, Leeohlitt. That's right. how I like to live my life, at the highest quality.
To the fullest.
That's right. That's right.
And the reason why I asked you that is because to me, it's just unique. And I know a lot of people say, well, when you see artists, you've seen them one, you've seen them all. No, I feel you're unique. That's why I couldn't really tap on it. But I do know when we first met, who you immediately put me in a mindset, I told you then, was Tupac. And the way you put me in the mindset of him was just a command. Like, he's an artist I can listen to that, I don't know, just the activism, he's just a very commanding energy. Yeah. Just listen to him. And so when I heard you, it just commanded. So not so much where it's like, oh, because I hate when people say, oh, you're like, no, you're Leeohlitt. You're not too, but you are that energy, that level of, how do you say, just that level of command, a level of respect in the art. That's who you immediately reminded me of when I first heard you. So, but yeah, so those are some of the people that you said inspire you. Have you heard is it Kendrick Lamar's recent release? Did you hear that?
I've heard pieces of it. I haven't
heard the full project,
but I know people are going crazy about it.
Yeah, I haven't heard the full project. I just heard really what people were going crazy about with the one where he talks about, have Nipsey and all the different faces that he changes into, but just the craftsmanship on, delivering messages and the wit with it. I brought that up because that's what reminded me of you too, just with the craft of it. And you put people in. What are some of the struggles that you face as an artist? What are some of the struggles? Is there any time that you ever felt like, you know what? I'm just walking away. I'm just walking away from it all.
I would have to say, I feel like that almost every day. Yeah, because the struggle is a lot of times the people, the things that they do, it makes you want to just walk away and like, I love music, but I don't want to be around, these type of people. And I would think, especially in a situation that I'm in, to where, what sustains me is not because of the music, pretty much. I can keep living the same life and a better life regardless. So having that and being around these people that they're lying, they're trying to trick you, they're trying to mislead you, they don't really care anything about you. It's like those people, because I don't like being around this kind of people anyway, and to have to come in contact with them on my journey up, it almost just like every day I'm ready to just give up. But I have learned that if you don't feel like giving up, then you're probably not doing the right thing or not pushing yourself to those edges where, you can continue to grow, so it's.
No, I agree.
So
I agree.
Yeah. So it's a confirmation that I should continue, but it's tough because these guys and some of the females, they're savages. They don't care about, sometimes I don't even think themselves in the situations that I see them put themselves in. They will destroy that person, destroy themselves, move to another city and do it again.
Listen, now we getting real here, because this is something that people really need to listen to. I don't care what side you as the viewer or listener are interested in getting into the entertainment industry. What I've learned being in it, because at first I was super just gun-ho for a particular community culture. I just had this straight fight on for specific people. But when I realized being in it for many years is that it's those same people that you want to fight for, that literally will attack and set up and all other words that you can think of their own in it. So it's not just looking at, because I know we always have a conversation about when we think just certain people in the industry are targeting certain people in the industry. Well, it literally can be artist to artist. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It could be male to male, black male to black male, like you said, females. It could be anybody around you that have all just succumbed to this dog eat dog industry. And that's what people have to realize and understand, is that when you come in it, you can't automatically assume that because you're talented, everyone's going to circle around you and care for you or this. It's a job. It's work. It's you can't, it's not a feel good. And like you said, you got to test the people out, and more than likely you better stay close to the ones like with songs that know new friends. You really need to pay attention to who you come in with. But what are some of the things, like you said, when you experience like the people? What about the fans? I'm gonna get back to that too. What about the fans too? How do you feel with that when I say fans or people that listen? Because to me that feels up and down from my experience. There's a lot of demand on one end, and then there's wishy-washy, not consistency. But what have you experienced with that? How has that affected you as an artist when you think about the listener fan base?
The listener fan base, and how, as far as when it comes to the support that I've received,
support, consistency on that, feeling like sometimes people go from fans to I'm your boss. It ain't done this way, it ain't this. If it's done this way, I mean, what is your experience with all of that? Consistent support?
Yeah, that is heavy. I have definitely had to learn to keep certain people out of my circle, even though they may be fans. Some of the things I watch for just in that, like you said, like they come from being a fan to being your boss, is there are little signs with that before that happens. And you get a lot of that from people who try to impose their will or their desires on you. They don't try to keep your values first, they have their own values and they think that you should do things their way instead of knowing that, hey, there are thousands of different cars. You have Mercedes, you have Toyota, but all of them are multi-million or multi-billion dollar companies. You can be any one of those. So I've definitely come in contact with that. And because of that, I do protect my energy from those type of people. So it's just kind of keeping them in perspective. Now, in terms of the consistency of the fans, I had to learn that the people that I have immediate access to in most cases will not support me for whatever reason. They just won't. You know, I try to figure it out, and I'd be lying if I said I knew why, because the heart of a person, you don't never know.
Right.
But when I started reaching outside of the people that I know, in terms of different marketing strategies, running ad campaigns, putting my face out there to strangers, pretty much. That's when I started getting the most results, the most respect, the most support. The people that support me now, that comment on all my posts, a lot of them I've never met. They're in different countries. They share my stuff, and they purchase whatever I have to offer. And but that's what I've learned. It's hard to get that support from around you.
Leeohlitt, listen, and I'm sure who's listening and watching, they're probably screaming, yes, that right there. Yes, that part. I've learned that is not a unique situation. That is the common experience. Is that those who are the closest around you, possibly those who you grew up with, possibly those who were family members, whatever, are not the ones to support. And so because it's so common, I really did have to look at what is this, because it's not just me. Like you said, it's not just you. I've seen this and you hear this echoed from so many people. And one thing that I have realized, because they watch now, they know, and they sit back, they see everything going on. So it's not like they're disassociated. They're just not engaged yet until they say, that's my best friend and that's my cousin, when, certain things may possibly pop off the way they feel they could benefit from. But a lot of that happens. And I used to say, oh, is hate? Is it this? Honestly, no, it's a disease, which is sometimes within ourselves. If we didn't achieve or attain or do certain things that we wanted to do or we set out to do, there's a level of frustration that settles within us. And sometimes when you see outwardly someone else moving in a direction of attaining whatever it is that they want to attain, can trigger that frustration in somebody else. It's not even a personal thing on that person. It's more of, you don't see the success in me. What you see is your failure.
That's right.
In me. And that's what I'm seeing with a lot of people. So they sit back, and it's hard for them to hit a button or to do that because there's something they're dealing with internally that they haven't achieved or completed. And I know him. I knew him since why is he like that? No, it's different, Why is he any better than me? Those are things that they're comparing. A personal thing. It's not about better. And what we don't realize as a community is, if you uplift that person that that's close to you, that's your tap in. That can possibly be your connected to your level up, because you not supporting doesn't stop the person, but it's going to stop you. So that's what it is. You're not isolated in that at all, Leo. I concur with that. And I know, like I said, plenty of people can as well. Most people, at least 90+% is usually from outside of the people that you know.
Yeah, and it's sad, but I do recommend to my other artists that I know personally, like when they're posting something, like they dropped a single and they've been pushing it for 2 or 3 weeks, and they're like, it's old now, I need to put out something new, or they may not have gotten a lot of likes or views. I tell them to keep pushing it, literally change your market. If these people don't like you or these people are not supporting you, find the people that are, and don't care what they may think. If you're changing your style, changing your vibe, changing your name, whatever it is that you're doing to make yourself better, because if their opinion really mattered, then you would already be where you want it to be. So if you,
absolutely.
Sometimes people see my ads on Instagram and they might say, dang man, Leo, he's paying for marketing, or whatever. But I'm paying Instagram or Facebook or YouTube to present my music in front of an audience that will be more susceptible to embracing me, versus the same people, over and over. So I encourage those that aren't getting the support from maybe their hometown or wherever they may be, to outside markets. I definitely encourage that. Don't stop just because the people around you won't help you. You don't want that to be your story at the end of your life, that I didn't make it because the guy down the street that's been hating on me all my life, he's the reason I didn't make it. You don't want that to be your story. You want to say, I made it regardless,
And you don't want it to be your story because now you join them in their book.
You're right.
That's the book they've written for themselves. They resolve to, I can't achieve or do whatever, for whatever their reasons are. Now you allowed the reflection of them to become yours, and now you're in their book. You keep doing what you're going to do. Because another thing too, content is real estate. What I tell people, it's real estate, right? We can sit here and it probably take us hours and name how many artists have put out so many things 4, 5, 6 years prior to when everybody all of a sudden think they popped off and they're this new person. You go back and be like, I was just watching Lizzo, and she did an interview with Jay Leno, and I didn't even realize she was on Jay Leno back in, that was 2014 or 2013. Wow. And I'm thinking Lizzo was just, you know what I mean? So, I mean, there's just so many stories though that people have been plugging and putting it out there, and all of a sudden that one thing, LMA, that song that was the biggest song, she was singing that and she showed it where it was like a handful of people coming to watch her, just a handful. And then fast forwarded many years later, same exact song, people packed that house singing the whole song. Wow. So what people got to realize too is timing's everything. You just do your part and deliver, and you don't know what that time is because you don't know when the person is going to hear whatever, what the situation is going to be, the opportunity. But all of that is real estate you cash in on.
That's right.
All of it's real estate.
That's right.
Wow. So I completely agree with you on that. So, and as a businessman, that's what I'm hearing. Where'd you get that from? Where do you get? Because it's hard to find the business side in a lot of creatives because, we just like being creatives. We like to create. We don't try to think that deep. We got to say the deep thinking for our creative work. But listening to you, is intertwined with business savvy. Where do you think that come from?
I would say it started officially. I think that I've always had some kind of natural, knack for business, but it became official after I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I read that when I was maybe 17, and in the beginning of the book, there was just a situation where you remember, I don't know if you remember that book, but
Robert Kiyosaki book. I do. I remember. Mm-hmm.
Well, you remember when the the rich dad was getting the son's friend to work, for etc. And then he was complaining. And then eventually he was like, you know what, I'm not going to pay you anything. And I'm going to send you back in there again. And when he went back to that gas station or that convenience store to work, being that they weren't working for any money, they were able to really see all the opportunities. And you remember they saw the comic books, and then they were able to work out a deal with the gentleman at the desk to let them take them home and started running the library. But it was when I read that book is when I really understood that business, although, how can I say, you have to know how to give a supply to a demand. You have to know how to see a demand and give a supply, but you're not going to be able to achieve that if you're clouded with, the little things that are around you. So it's like a saying that says, don't let the trees stop you from reaching your forest, and that was a foundation that kind of got me established, so that while I'm in the music industry or any industry that I'm in, although I'm making money, I'm looking at the biggest picture. How can I really grow? I get that I'm getting paid this for this job, but how can I really maximize this opportunity? And then I understand the needs of others, being that I do understand value. I know it's valuable to me, and I know every person on this planet has something that's valuable to them. How can I get what's valuable to them in a way that's easy for them to receive? And that's just kind of the foundation of that, having an understanding for people, and then having your eyes open to real opportunities, not just an hour. Even if you're getting $50 an hour, $100 an hour, still stepping into situations where you're like, I'm getting this money, I'm not even gonna think about this, even though you pay your bills. How can I really capitalize. So that attitude got me through prison. While I was incarcerated, I used to sell just about anything, that could be sold other than, people. I never, got into that, not to go too far in the conversation. Prison is just one of those places.
Yeah.
But I was able to always capitalize, learn how to get things in, get things that people needed. And then when I came home, that same energy, just kept me going. So I'm in music, but at the same time, just being involved in business so long, I can't help but look at it, like a business, and everything else that I do,
transferable skills. So it's not like,
exactly what it is.
So if we really pay attention to what's going on in life and things that we considered hardship is actually teaching us hard business skills, if we really, really, really are paying attention to it. But yeah, I see where you understood the supply and demand and all that, but you just said something, it's supply and demand, but you also dug a little deeper when you had a conversation with that gentleman and say, listen, don't give up, switch the market. Right. So even you knew even deeper there. I mean, so that's the foundation that just helped you to expand in your thought like that? I mean, because that is actually, that's why I didn't want to pass that over. That was a deep tip, right? That gets people to think completely outside of the box, or even better yet, to not even have a dang on box.
Yeah.
Right. And so you just said so is that what pushed you to think like that as well?
I would say yes, and understanding that everything is valuable. All over the world, what may be taboo here is the way of life somewhere else, and vice versa. So it's just that value is the key. I think as well. To having this, to, like I said with the market, just because people don't want to buy shorts in Alaska, that doesn't mean they won't buy them in Miami, Florida. You just this is a great business. You have a great idea. Get it to the right people. And don't be upset if the people around you don't want what you have, just because that's not, like I said, we're in Alaska, so they want jackets and furs, but there is a place for that. So it's just knowing that everything is valuable. So the key is finding out where it's valuable, and then how you're going to get it to those people, but how you're going to get it to them in a way that they don't have to go out their way, because everybody has options. So like when I do my marketing pitches to some people and I build with them on helping themselves become marketable, I do talk to them about being a bag of chips. My job in your life is to make your bag of chips look just as good as a bag of Lay's or barbecue. I put them in the Walmart and everybody can walk by them, but I want them to stop at your chips and say,
that's right,
I'll spend that $2.99 or $1.99, for yours. So it is about that, just understanding where you need to be and making sure that you're there for people, because we just don't live in that day and age where people go all the way out their way to get what they immediately want and need, so it's just changing with the change. And that's another principle that I live on. I don't fight against the change, because when I see a massive movement, I know that it's more than just me involved with this, and it's going to take more than me to change it. So I could fight against it, and spend my life trying to make people do something they don't want to do, or I could change with it. And as I'm going with the change, I could change it even further, or make it better, or make it safer. We have problems in America with so many things, and I could easily get on that bandwagon of what's wrong. But I do understand my position. I can say, well, while we are in America, while we are going through what we're going through, these are things you need to know, or things you can have that can make your journey a little bit better, more insightful. So it's just, I don't complain. When I take a loss, I don't even think about it. I just, all right, this is what happens after I've got through whatever, let's move right on, and so it's kind of a lot of different elements that come into just the way I think and how I see things in terms of business and just life, but I do look at everything as being connected.
Absolutely. And like you just said, and we could sit and harbor on a lot that's wrong, which we do. Energy is energy. It doesn't know. Whatever way you decide to have it consumed, that's just where it's going to lie. So if you have it consumed in everything that's not going right, you don't have energy to put in what can possibly go right. Go wrong. You could put it was go right. But also that goes back to the principle we said earlier, in every challenge is an opportunity. With a lot of things that we consider wrong, it's showing us what out there is right. And it's pushing us and guiding us towards that direction if that's what we want to go. So when there's a lot of things out here going wrong, for instance, in quotes, all the messages, all the things that I see, I know what to speak on and what to educate on because of what is wrong. We wouldn't know the moon without the sun rotating. We wouldn't know light without dark. We couldn't call light if there wasn't dark. Like we just couldn't. And so when we see things that we deem wrong, there's something in there that's trying to be the opposite reflection of what is right, in quotes. But I wanted to go back to what you said. You got to know, like when you talk to your individuals, be where you need to be and know where you need to be and be there. And that's one of the things that help you to pivot. I love that because you just need to know where you need to be. And wherever you need to be should align with whatever vision, the outcome should always just be aligned with that. And if it causes you to adapt, to change, like you said, don't resist it. Just know where you need to be and be there, because that's where the thing is going to happen. And all those other things that you were chasing will come to you because you already did this here. We already know that people all of a sudden want to be next to what's hot. So if you the chips that's in Walmart, not the Lay's and anything else, if all of a sudden tons of people over here, people that you wasn't focusing on, but there are tons of people over here eating it, those people who you were not trying to be involved or eat, they want to know, they want to be next to what's hot. Why is all of a sudden all these people eating this over here? Now they're automatically going to come. What is those chips? I think it's by Master P. Is it the snack pack? Because when they first didn't come out, it wasn't. Let me tell you, Master P didn't care about all that with stuff. Like even it was clowning with the sneakers that came out, right? So many different things. He don't care about that. When he talk about his noodles, whatever it is, he come out with it.
That's right.
And he's gonna come out with it, and he's gonna make it work with whoever feel it's gonna work. And as soon as those people feel like it's gonna work, now everybody jump on it. Now all of a sudden, all the rappers want to be. You can get them, negotiate deals to get them on the packs and all this. But it wasn't like that.
That's right.
And so you're right. Just know where you need to be and be there, because when that pop off, you're gonna have people coming to you and around you and getting stuff that you probably don't even want. So I love that. I love that you made that point. So when you think about your goals and where you want to be, what do you envision? What does that look like right now from where you're sitting right now? What are some of the things that you want to check off when you think about Leeohlitt?
Man, I do want to check off owning just multiple businesses. It's, real estate, it's trucking companies, transportation. I want to be in a position to help the kids that are in my family. I have a lot of kids in my family. You saw too from our anniversary party, Garrettella, it was a lot of kids. Something that they can do and make a great living. That's where I'm at with this. I want the music to transition into creating bosses, creating entrepreneurs, or people, if they do want to work, they don't want to be in charge of things, they can still come make a great living, 6-figure, living. So that's where I see myself in a lot of different businesses, because for me, I'm not saying I don't care what's sold, because I do care about products that are being sold, but I'm very open to selling this couch that I'm sitting on, this MacBook, that I'm on the Zoom with. I have nothing against it. If it's a great product, high quality, and I can sell it, I will. So I'm very open. So I'm not stuck on one thing, but I do want to just make a way, for my family until they figure it out. Like, let's say one of my nephews wants to become a dentist at first. It doesn't work out. I don't want him to be broke until he figures out his next move. I want him to still, be good. So that's where I'm at with it. And because of that, I'm actually about to be in a movie, my first movie. Yep. I'm looking forward to getting it together. I'll be acting in the movie as well, and I'll be doing some modeling also. And it's just, doors are just opening. So I'm open to just all the possibilities that can, push my family, our family forward.
And I like it you said that. So let's drill on this point. Those who listen, you already know we don't move past gems that are given. A lot of times we listen to stuff and we just listen surface level. I always like to do pit stops and pull out things that are huge and that can literally change the trajectory in your life. Like you just brought up, when I asked you, what do you see? A lot of times, 9 times out of 10, the answer to that question when we're talking about artists who are creatives is more curated around fame, right? And it reflects the desire and the intention reflects the stability and outcome. And so when you just express what your intentions are, what people got to really pay attention to is, what are my intentions of why I do what I do? Like, seriously, what are my intentions? And if your intentions is something that is unstable, something that is temporary, so too will your results be. And you just pointed out that your intention is ownership. Like, sure. That's one of my favorite words. And that's something that we must learn more, different cultures, is about ownership. And you really just hammered in purpose over this temporary stuff. Yeah. And movies and other things that you're willing to be open to, you don't have your identity attached to a thing. So if this thing changes, so too does my identity. So too do I crumble. And so in that answer, you show that my identity is in moving. My identity is in owning. My identity is in creating more abundance of sustainability. And I love that you said that. Our issue now, and tell me if you see this, is when we speak of identity, when we speak of why we have our purpose or where our intentions are, we see certain things that are pushed out there as being.
Hold on, I think you froze again, or did I freeze?
We see things as being worth mimicking, because we think we'll get what was put in front of us to get. So that's why even the music may sound the same, or this may sound the same, or that, because we're trying to get that thing that we see. But what we don't see is that there's no substance behind it. And you just spoke of a substance. So is that what you see when you're involved in an industry? What's different between you and a lot of what you see going on, or people trying to attain?
Yes, I definitely do. I do see the difference. And in so many different ways. I don't think that I'm the average artist because of that. A lot of things that they're trying to attain are things that I already have. They're trying to, they're trying to get the house, or they're trying to get the cars, or, foreign cars or whatever. Those are things that I already have, on my own. So when the time comes for me to get that big deal, it won't be just to blow it on these things or whatever, because I've already got it. So it'll be to continue to expand, on my family, continue to, invest in them, their desires, the dreams we have of, like you said, of ownership. So it is that substance. So I'm not as thirsty, because although I'm an artist, I really hope that I make it in the music industry, because this is a passion that I have. But at the same time, I know who I am at the core is that I'm going to be there anyway, whether it's the music or it's some other venture that I'm doing, or, some behind the scenes things that I'm doing. I'm working with so many different people right now. It's bound to happen. My purpose is going to happen. I'm going to, receive that no matter what. That's just the way I've set my life up. So it does make me different than your normal artists who may be thirsty or may be desperate or may not be thinking or rushing into certain things, because they don't care about, what the outcome may be. They just right into it. Whereas myself, I'm a little bit more reluctant to do certain things, because I'm like, man, I could link up with this guy, make this deal, but I had to go to my little cousin's ballet recital, and I missed her recital to go spend time with them because I think they're everything. And then they end up stealing money from me. Yeah. So I got to explain to my little cousin why I didn't go to her ballet. I chose to be with them, So it's like the way my life is set up, I'm gonna make it regardless. I'm disciplined. You know, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't go out to, spend money unnecessarily unless it's a part of the business. And even those small things, I'm able to take that same money that people may spend on weed or alcohol or whatever and put it right back into myself, which, helps the family and the investment. So it's just my movement is just so different. I'm not really moved by things because I don't have the desire. I don't know if that's because of who I am just naturally or because of what I've experienced while I was incarcerated. I didn't build certain habits. Just it doesn't.
No, because there's some people that had that situation and have raised that situation as an excuse.
Yep.
So you have that situation and you're saying how it pushed you or it helped push you in different direction, but it's people who have the same story and that is their very excuse of why they can't.
You're
So
right.
that ain't why. It's all the why is in you. It,
All
it,
right.
it helped you to use it. However, so
All right.
two questions I have. I want to come back to this because you mentioned big deal. I have a question about the big deal, but before I go there, before I forget, when you just said your movement's different, your mindset's different, your heart set's different, but you said one thing that captures it all. I'm gonna make it in his life regardless.
That's right.
So your thing is not just hinged upon music. Your thing is I'm going to live my fullest life regardless. So that I think is what's giving you leverage. When I do contract negotiations, I always talk about leverage. That's an important tool to have when you're negotiating a contract is whatever leverage. Let's think about all the leverage we have. So when we talk about this, I can bring the leverage to the table. You're bringing leverage to life. The leverage you have to negotiating this thing we call life is no matter what happened, I am confident that I'm going to live my fullest. And so that makes everything at your mercy. You're like the strongest negotiator, in your situation. So would you say that would be something that you would encourage other artists? Because you brought up you have the things you need. And some people may say, well, he has it so he could see it differently. He's not thirsty, so he could see it differently. And I do believe people care about the outcome. They care about it because when the outcome is what it is, they don't care about assessing that outcome at that time. They don't have time to think about an outcome. They don't want the outcome to be whatever, but they don't have time to think about an outcome because all they hear is the income. So then I think about outcome. But would you say that would be something that you would encourage people? Or what would you encourage if you have artists that are in that situation where they don't have? What are some words possibly?
I would say for them to accept. How can I say? This is powerful because this is how I live. You're in the industry. The industry is treacherous. You hear stories whether you experienced it or not. Everybody pretty much knows. So is this something that you really want to invest everything you have into? When you're dealing with treachery, it can go either way. We see good stories, we see sad stories. So if that's the case, do you want to base your whole foundation, your whole future on something so treacherous? Me being a
Wow.
businessman, an investor, so I'm a businessman, so I'm not a gambler. I'm not just going to put money on a random color or number unless I already have some knowledge in the back that it's going to land on this color, or this number, or team, etc. So because the system is so treacherous, I'm going to build my wealth or my foundation at least somewhere else and allow that to then fund the uncertainty. I'm going to bank on the certainty and allow that to do that. Some people may I don't want people to confuse it with a plan B. I just want you to know that this is called your security, so that if things don't happen, you don't want to be 50 years old trying to explain to your family why they don't have their house that you promised. You still, or whoever it is, if you're by yourself, whatever those goals may be, you don't want to be that person. You want to be the person that no matter what happens, the cards will always fall in your favor. So if you want to get into the game, and my wife will tell you, I work 2 jobs, from 1 10-hour and then a 6-hour job back to back. Guys was trying to offer me different things like, hey, Leo, you get in the mix, do this. I already know the outcome of that. So, and I'm not willing to accept those consequences. If I was,
Right.
I would do that, but I'm not. So I don't. So I started working, building, and still was continually working, mixing it up. So I didn't just get here just because someone gave this to me. This was not some inheritance. This was not, hey, Leo, here you go, have fun. It was like, no, this was a grind. Me and my wife, we grind together. You know,
Absolutely.
we mix it up. So I would say if you're trying to make it in the game, make it somewhere else first. Put your eggs in that basket and work that around it. And you'll be successful. You won't be as hungry because like when somebody says, hey, I can put you in a foreign car, I'm like, well, then I got 2 foreign cars. Or, my house is technically a mansion. It's over 5,000 square feet. On Zillow, I'm 6,000 and some change. So you can't try to get me to move into a house with you. Like I see some artists that are moving with their managers, which is good, but then they put that pressure on them. Like if they do something wrong, they'll kick them out the house or they'll take the car from them. Like it goes back to what you were saying, ownership. So I would say not to be thirsty, value yourself enough not to bank on something so uncertain. So yeah, so get a job or invest, do something, and count on that. And that'll keep them with a more clear head and not feel pressured. Like if this goes out the window right now, what will you have? You want to say, I'm still good. I can
I'm
still.
still good. And I'm happy you say that because that's going to be one of the common threads for anyone who listens to any of the individuals I had on thus far. And I think will be the common thread of these impactful people is how their mindset think is they have no quorum on doing whatever it took
Mhm.
for them to just reach that main goal, which is being fruitful in life. Sometimes we get stuck on this one thing. And I agree with you, this whole argument. I have actually, one of my segments touches on this plan A versus plan B debate we talk about. And it depends on how you look at it. Perception's everything. Saying that you're going to do X, Y, Z while you have your eye on this particular prize is not a plan A or plan B. It's just like if I was to put an address I want to get to, a destination I want to get to in a GPS, and I put it in there, I put it in Waze or Google, wherever I'm driving. Something comes up. There's maybe something on the highway, accidents, traffic, just rerouting. It's not plan B. It's that thing pushed me somewhere else in another direction where I found a shorter route or I found this or I found whatever. I'm still going to the destination. It's
Wow.
still
That's
the
powerful.
destination. So what happens in the middle, let us not get caught up with plan A, plan B. It's that thing you keep your eye on, and there's so many different things that doors will push you here that doesn't open. These no's will bring you to your yeses. It's not plan A or plan B. It's the plan.
Plan.
And so I totally agree with you on that. One thing all of us have in common who are impactful is we just focus on the plan. I mean, I do legal, I speak, I write, I teach, because all of it is part of the plan. Don't think I do plan A, plan B, plan C. No, I'm executing the plan.
Plan.
Just like the GPS executed getting me to my destination, but hit reroute when I need to hit reroute. So I wanted to definitely hammer that in that you said that. And I'm going to keep hammering that in every time one of the impactful guests come on, because you hear these individuals, we feel shamed. And sometimes we're put to shame, or sometimes we have these people pushing what entrepreneurship or what vision looks like. You just know, and if it's just this way, don't think about, stop buying into the hype,
That's
because
right.
that's all it is.
That's
When the
right.
smoke clears, start seeing people who, get the results that they get, and they just know they're going for the plan. So focus on the plan. So going to this deal, like you said, maybe this big deal that come. What are your thoughts on deals versus being an independent artist? What deals look like now versus what they used to be then? What the opportunities we have? I mean, what are your thoughts on that when you talk about the deal?
Well, I am extremely pro deal, without a doubt, because I do know that to get bigger than you are, it will take more than yourself. It's just all about what you do in that deal. You
Mm.
know, like I was incarcerated, and they would literally give you 3 sandwiches a day for your payment, right? You could be one of those individuals take those 3 sandwiches, or you could be one of those individuals say, you know what, I'm going to find a way to pay myself because they can never really give me what I'm worth. So when I get my deal and when these other artists get their deal, I would recommend, and this is something that I always do, whenever I'm pulling from a source that I can't trust, I immediately take that money and I put it somewhere else. You know what I mean? And let my investment go. So,
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward, to the deal, and mainly because my foundation is already laid. So I already pay for my own studio time. I pay for my own beats. I pay for my videos. So I can take that same money and keep doing what I'm already doing because I'm getting more. I'm not going to get an income and then cut out what I'm doing.
Right.
It's not the way I have it set up. And just build more. And some people may look at it and say it's a bad deal. And I do think that when it comes to good deals and bad deals, I'm not saying that there aren't any, but it does have a lot to do with perception and responsibility. If you're just getting $100,000 or 50,000 or $1 million, and you're not going to see nothing else for a certain period of time, put your money to the side for taxes. Like I do pay taxes. Put your money to the side for taxes, and then allow the rest to make you more money. So I don't think that I'll be able to sign a bad deal, but it's because of how I think. I'm going to always come out more. You may think that you made this money over on me now, but for what I'm about to do with this over here, I could be like Jeff Bezos, while you still may be over whatever label is doing this thing right now, just because of how I think. So I'm pro deal. I'm pro independent as well, I guess you can say, for the people that may want to do that. But if you're trying to make money, get the money. Don't lose sight of the goal. If you're here to make money, if you're here just to make music, then do that. But once you start talking about making money, get the money. Get the money and do right with what you have. Be a good steward, be responsible. And if you mess the money up, don't be one of the ones that say I was in a bad deal. Just be the ones that say, dang, they gave me $1 million and I bought a chain, or whatever.
Exactly. I concur with your sentiment. I like how you explained why you're pro deal and vice versa, because it's the same thing I say to people, and I've been preaching this forever, because I'm even going to say a 360 is not bad. And let me tell you why. Like you said, it's not about, you have to understand what's in an agreement, what you're getting into, what you're giving, and what you're getting out of it. A 360 can be absolutely amazing if you're somebody who don't want to do any work at all. Someone's getting paid to push you on all fronts. The only thing that you just need to understand and caveat you need to put in these contracts is if you don't do this, then it won't be that. But if you're doing this, then this is what that's going to look like. And there's some people out there who don't want to touch anything. So you have someone who is willing to do things in every area other than your music, then rightfully so, they should be compensated. Again, you just have to understand, because a contract is not set in stone. You got to have those conversations on what that looks like. If this happened, then that. And if this, then that. But I'm fine with this because I'm going to get something I would never have gotten if it's me, because I'm just not going to do that work. So it's just, how do you make a situation work for you? Like you brought up earlier, we understand. We've been saying this story over and over again. We like you said, it's treacherous. It's things. We know it. So if you know the game, stop getting in thinking it's going to be different for you. What you need to do is study the game. When I study spades, I study spades. So that means no matter who I sit down and play with, me and my partner, my husband, we're going to do well. You got to just study the game. So study the game and not so much focus on changing it, but to be able to master and get out of the game what you want to get out of the game. And I've said this before, I think there's bad situations, but not bad deals, because that same deal that you have in front of you is the same deal in the end. There's just bad situations. Maybe you didn't catch something. Maybe, like you said, you was in a thirsty position. Maybe you didn't understand something and they explained it to you differently. And then you thought it to be what they said versus what's written because somebody didn't read it. Whatever, it's a bad situation, but that deal is what it is. So we have to understand what that deal is and know that we can have conversations about it if we have leverage. And that goes to what you just said. If you have something that you're not thirsty for, or put yourself in better positions, then you have leverage. And also you have respect. People don't have to like you. A lot of them won't like you, But when they see you handled business and you got what you got, like you name the stuff you got, there's a respect level that's just going to happen from business to business person. It just is going to be a respect level when it comes to business. When you're able to sit down and say, I'm not interested. That doesn't interest me. I have that. What interests me is this. There's a respect level. There's a lot of non-respect if you come to the table with nothing and they know they could use you. It's just that pimp and hoe game. I mean, let's just be real. Like if they know that you're easy, why not? It's not like you're gonna be like, oh, you're easy. Let me teach you how not to be easy. Are you kidding me? So no,
no.
They want it. That makes their job easy.
Yep.
And you have to understand why everybody's in it. I learned to stop. Don't cuss them. Just say I learned.
That's right.
I learned this. I did this, and now you got to just go do better. I tell people that when we have conversations about systems, we can't. There's nothing wrong. You can't correct the system that was built to do exactly what it's doing. What are you correcting? That means the system is working actually. What you need to do is figure out how to dismantle yourself from being mentally and emotionally connected to that system so you can see clearly on how to navigate the way you need to navigate. It's the same thing with in these industries. It's not going to change, people.
That's right.
So you need to leverage. You need to put yourself in the best position that you could possibly put yourself in. Don't think there's plan A, B, C, and D. Understand your plan and know your intention. All right. So my last question for you that I want to end off on, we spend, like you said, you're going to live your life to the fullest. We live it to our fullest while we're here and then transition, whatever. Between that, there's a dash. Between when we're born and that, there's a dash. What do you envision your dash to mean? It's a silent dash, but there's impactful, remnants behind it. What do you want your dash?
It's when you say that, it makes me think that I want to embody like the full human, like a human, like everything that a human can really do, not without any limitations. Like this is what makes a human being, you know? And that's what I want it to show. Like, okay, this is somebody whose life started off like this. In the middle, it was like this, and this is how it turned out, you know? And that's where I'm at. Cause sometimes I used to get down and depressed about missing my childhood, etc. But when I changed my perspective, I was like, man, if I was reading this book, then it would probably be interesting. Like, wow, you know, you kind of see what I'm saying? So it's just, I have transitioned and I became an entire human. I didn't have any shorts. I really experienced this life. So this is a soul who experienced life pretty much.
Now I see your energy. I can see why. See, this just your mindset, just of your intention and intention is everything. Intention and attention. And you just said you want your dash to be this person evolved to what the fullest potential of human existence. And that is a journey within itself because we are limitless. And to understand that in the midst of all these distractions, it is a process within itself. So I love that dash. And I see it. That's what you're doing now. And you're sharing. And for whoever's listening and viewing, I hope you are full because you definitely ate. You have someone who was very transparent with you and someone who's doing great in every area that he's doing and continuing to learn and grow and evolve in those areas and was willing and able to share. So thank you for listening to another segment of SeekELLAvation. Leo, is there anywhere that you want people to connect with you on? Any platforms, websites, anything that you want the viewers or listeners to check you out?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, you can follow me on Instagram, Leeohlitt. That's LeeohLitt. It's one word, Leeohlitt. You can also find my music that same way. You can Google me, Leeohlitt. I'm on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube as well. I just put out a music video about a month ago. It's going crazy right now. I think we're up to like 68,000 views, and it's climbing. It's climbing. So it's called Leeohlitt actually. And in that song, it kind of just represents kind of who I am in a way, but more from a party aspect. So definitely check that out. And yeah, that's where I'm at, Leeohlitt. You can follow me with that name anywhere. I want to say thank you too. Just thank you for having me. This was amazing. This was a great conversation, and I like the Conversate and ELLAvate. This is great. Thank you for reaching out to me, even let me do this with you.
Absolutely, I love it. So again, thank you for listening to another segment of Conversate and Elevate. Until next time, let's continue to rise, because what we do, elevators, we're always going